Welcome back, my friends. This is Yoga with Annie, and we are plugged in at the studio today. We are about to embark on our next yoga journey. We are working on the hips, so we're going to find some gentle hip openers in this practice. It is accessible for all levels. So go ahead and grab your mat, and I'll meet you on mine. So we're going to start this practice by finding a wide leg child's pose. So bring the knees out wide. If this hurts your knees, you might grab a blanket underneath. But as you bring the knees out, start to walk the hands down in between your legs. And as you do, relax the crown of the head down. And start here by taking a couple breaths, deep breaths into the belly, filling up the back body, and exhale. And let it all melt away. Couple rounds just like that. And as you begin to breathe, begin to connect your breath with your movement. And begin to truly feel into how your breath is connected with your body. 2 more deep breaths here, allowing the back ribs to expand and open. And allow your exhalations to ground you into this present moment as you let go. On your next inhalation, inhale to very gently come up to the hands and knees. And from the hands and knees, taking a moment just to wiggle it out a little bit. You might wag the tail from side to side. You might find some spinal circles here and open up through the lower back. Beautiful. And so to start off with, we're going to do some circles with our hip joint. So you're going to extend your left leg out and start here by making some circles. And as you make some circles, you're going to feel this a little bit in the core. And as we start to warm up through that joint, I want you to bring that knee in. And as you inhale, finding that fire hydrant, so you bring that left knee out to the side. And then circling back around. So imagine you're making these big circular drawings with your left knee. And maybe you stick with that circular pattern, or maybe you start to kind of windshield wiper that left knee out and down. Let's take about 3 more rounds here. Just simply starting to mobilize through that hip joint. You might even draw it forward and back. But this is a really good starting point to kind of see what you're working with. A lot of us are pretty tight in our hips. And so even this motion might feel very intense for you. And so if it does, deepen your breath and do only what serves you. Switching to the other side, extend that right leg up behind you. Again, you're going to feel this a little bit in the core. Start to make some circles with that, as if you're painting circles with that right big toe. You're going to feel this starting to warm up through the hip flexor as well. So part of hip mobility also is finding strength in that area. So it's not all just about stretching out that area, but when we talk about mobility, you do want to start to create strength and flexibility and have this very balanced relationship between the two. Take a couple more rounds as you find circles with that right hip joint. And when you're ready, coming back through to center. And so from here, bringing the knees out wide once more. Again, you might use a blanket underneath your knees for this practice. But from here, we're going to find that child's pose, right? Your big toes are together. And as you inhale, you're going to inhale, shifting forward into this scorpion pose. And you're going to draw the toes back, Press the hips into the mat, opening through the hip flexors. And exhale to roll back. Sitting the hips back down into that wide leg child's pose. Inhale, roll forward. And again, if this hurts your knees, maybe take one and then the other. Exhale to roll back. Sit the hips back down. Take a deep breath here. We're going to do that one more time. Inhale, start to shift forward, rolling onto the knees. And exhale to shift back. Relax. Take a breath. Let it go. Beautiful. And from here, very gently walking the hands up. And so we're going to move into a reclined pigeon posture or a figure four. If you prefer a regular pigeon posture, you might find that. But in my experience, especially starting to open up through the hips, we try and push our way into that pigeon pose sometimes instead of going where our body tells us to go. So from here, drawing that right ankle over the left knee, flex through the right toes. As you flex through the right toes, start to draw the knee into your chest. And you might just be here, or you might start to reach through and grab wherever comfortable and relax the crown of the head back down. But taking a couple breaths, breathing into that space. And we'll still get to that pigeon pose today, so don't you worry. These both are great postures. We just kind of hit different target areas with them. So, a couple more breaths. Notice if you put any tension in the body where you can start to release that, especially in the shoulders, right? Just becoming more aware of your body and honoring where it's at. When you're ready, switch sides. Right foot down, left foot up. Hang out here for a second if you like. You might even find that if you press your left knee away from you, you're going to start to feel that in your left hip flexor. Draw the right knee in, reach through and grab if that serves you. Couple breaths. Deepen the breath. Draw your awareness to that sweet, peaceful place that you get glimpses of throughout your yoga journey. A couple more breaths. And whenever you're ready, releasing the bind. Beautiful. We're going to find our way to that pigeon posture that I promised you guys. So roll up to seated. And from seated, bring your left leg parallel. Extend your right leg out. And so if you're particularly tight, you might bend through that back leg as well. If not, you can start to extend out. And from here, we're going to leave it lifted. So sometimes, and you might do this, you might start to walk the hands out and relax over that left leg for more of a sleeping swan position. But let's leave it lifted today and allow the hip flexors to start to relax into the mat. And as you start to feel the breath deepen, you're going to feel your hips start to melt and sink towards the mat. Couple breaths. This is such a good one. Starting to open up through the hips. We do carry a lot of emotions in the hips. So if you feel emotional in these postures, it's not uncommon. When you're ready, switch sides. And you might need a different approach for your second side, and that's okay too. But allow yourself to find a space that you can start to sink down in. And so you want to point the hips towards the front of your mat. You want to flex the right toes. And as you do, allow the hips to give in to gravity. Broad shoulders, Make sure you're not putting any tension elsewhere in the body. Full breaths. Whenever you're ready, stay there as long as feels good. This one is a really good one. You could stay here for probably a good 5 minutes or so if you want to turn it into a little bit more of a restore / yin practice. So beautiful work today, guys. This is Yoga with Annie. As always, it is such a pleasure to share space with you guys. Until I see you all again, namaste.